I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? Let's get into NXT from March the 17th, 2026. Happy St. Patrick's Day. NXT was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed the show, although I could have done without that six-man tag between the Vanity Project and El Grande Americano and Company. We could have done without that. But other than that, everything else on the show was solid. I dug the Booker T Appreciation Night. I thought that was beautifully done. Really good stuff there. We are about 2.5 weeks away until Stand and Deliver. So that's fine. And it looks like for the NXT Championship, there might be a Fatal 4-Way involved. I hope not. I hope it's just going to be a one-on-one between Tony D'Angelo and Joe Hendry. And both guys were on this show, as I figured they would be. So there's that. So this is a really decent show for the most part. Also, NXT is no longer with Peacock. That deal is over and done with. Going forward, I would assume they're going to be using YouTube as a way to do NXT pay-per-views for the time being until they find somewhere, which is fine. That makes perfect sense. That's great. You don't have to have an account or anything to watch YouTube videos. You can just, watch it for free or whatever. You don't have to even sign into your account to watch videos. So that's really good there. I do like that. I like that concept, and that's actually pretty good. So that's good. Really, really good stuff there. That's interesting. That really is interesting. So I do like that. All right, let's go ahead and get into the show. So we kicked the show off with the first match of the night, which I was shocked by. I thought that was going to be maybe in the middle of the show, which was the triple threat match. Zarya, Sol Ruka, and Jacy Jayne. Triple threat for the NXT Women's Championship. Jacy Jayne retains her NXT Women's Championship. This match was pretty fun. Zarya got a lot of her power moves in. Sol Ruka did Sol Ruka things. So good stuff there. A couple of Hurricane Ranas and Jawbreakers and stuff. Really good stuff. So towards the end of the match, Sol Ruka ended up hitting a Soul Snatcher. She was about to get the 3 count. Zarya pulled out Sol Ruka. She gave her an F5. Fatal Influence got involved and started attacking Zarya. And Sol Ruka was out via the F5. So Jacy Jayne basically pinned Sol Ruka for the win because Fatal Influence got involved. So really good stuff there. We figured they would get involved anyway. It makes sense. Clearly, Jacy Jayne is going to be losing her title come Stand and Deliver to probably Kendall Gray, who is now a mainstay on NXT, which is great. So good stuff there. She's tremendous. So I do like this. I like what they're doing. Clearly, Zarya and Sol Ruka, they're going to finally do their match on Stand and Deliver, which is fine. And I would hope that Zarya wins, and then therefore after Stand and Deliver, maybe we could do ship Sol Ruka off to the main roster. I think she's more than ready. Although I wouldn't bring her in until probably after Mania, so you can keep her around for another 2 weeks because Stand and Deliver is 2 weeks before Mania, so that's fine. So they'll probably end up doing maybe another match with Zarya, so that's fine. So I don't think that Stand and Deliver will be their one and only match. I do think that they're probably going to end up doing another match before Sol Ruka gets fully called up. which should be post-Mania. So either on the Raw, SmackDown after Mania. So there is that. All right, moving on. Speaking of Kendall Gray was on this show. She was backstage typing up Ren Sinclair. So Kendall Gray makes it clear that Fatal Influence is not leaving Houston with both titles. So Ren Sinclair, she snaps at Charlie Dempsey, who walks by her with Birthright. She's mad that Charlie Dempsey ghosted her, and then he attacked Tavion Heights from last week, so he could be a part of the Birthright. So she wanted to know what happened. So Charlie says that Ren has someone now, and she can relate to. So he went ahead and did the same thing. So Charlie Dempsey walks away along with Birthright. Kendall Gray tells Ren Sinclair to keep her head focused and win the Women's Speed Championship. So Kendall Gray vacated her Evolve Women's Championship just to get a rematch with Jacy Jayne, which is smart. So Lola Vice shows up. Lola Vice wishes Ren good luck in her match. Lola knows that Kendall has been eyeballing the NXT Women's Championship, and she knows that Kendall Gray is a true badass in the ring, but nobody's stopping Lola from becoming NXT Women's Champion at Stand and Deliver. So we could get a triple threat match, probably, which they could do that. I don't think they will, though. I think we'll probably end up doing a number one contenders match, Lola Vice versus Kendall Gray, which should be fun as hell. And you have Lola go over, and then you have Lola be the one to send Jacy Jayne packing to the main roster, because I don't think that Jacy Jayne is going to be around too much longer either. Same thing with Fallon Henley. So I see the two of them getting called up, 2/3 of Fatal Influence getting called up, and then maybe Lainey Reed can do some stuff in NXT by herself, which is fine. Because Jacy Jayne and Fallon Henley, they're basically super seniors. Jacy Jayne's been in NXT since 2021, I want to say. And Fallon Henley's been in NXT since 2022. So they've been in there for quite some time. So it's time for them to get called up. It really, truly is. And I'm a fan of both women. You know, they both kick major ass. So I like that. All right. Moving on from that, this leads us into Ricky Saints. He shows up. He gets an okay heel reaction. So he wanted to show up. He said that he's not bothered at what happened last week. He said that him and Ethan Page, they make a great tag team because they beat Joe Hendry and Miles Bourne. So he's thinking of a few tag team names and for Joe Hendry and Miles Bourne, and that would be the Slum Busters, because that's what they did. So Ricky says that him and Ethan would go after the tag team titles if their boys, the Vanity Project, weren't holding them. They'd be in that tag team tournament. So he says everyone on that roster is safe because they're focused on singles gold. So he says that Ethan Page is on his way to becoming a two-time NXT North American champion, and he's going to reclaim his rightful place as a two-time NXT champion. So Ethan Page shows up. So him and Ricky, they just have some words. So Ricky wants Ethan to help him out and everything, just to, go back into the North American title picture. So Ethan Page says that he doesn't want to become a two-time North American champion, but he does still want to become a two-time champion, referring to the NXT championship. So Joe Hendry shows up, and he says that Ethan Page does have some good points. He was able to do something that Ricky Saints could never do, and that was beat him. So Joe Hendry says that maybe Ricky Saints doesn't want it as bad as Ethan Page does. So Joe Hendry tries to pit both guys against each other, and Ethan Page said he's not going to let Joe Hendry troll them at all. So they continue to bicker back and forth, and then basically, Ethan Page and Ricky Saints, they gang up on Joe Hendry. Then Joe Hendry comes back and hits a double clothesline, followed up by 2 fall-away slams. And then Tony D'Angelo shows up after Joe Hendry does his pose. He spears Joe Hendry, and then Tony D drops both Ricky Saints and Ethan Page with the forget about it. And then that was it. So this is fine. I'm guessing they're probably going to end up doing probably a triple threat for the number 1 contenders match at some point. That should happen probably either... Well, next week it's going to be Ricky Saints and Tony D'Angelo. So the week after that, they should go ahead and just do the number 1 contenders match, but a triple threat match. But I got a feeling they're probably going to end up doing a fatal 4-way match. And I think that's what they're going to end up doing. Because again, I don't expect for Joe Hendry to be in NXT too long. I really don't. I think he's kind of main roster ready, and there's really no point of him just sticking around in NXT really too long. He's already been there about 8 months, basically, 8 to 10 months already. So he's basically been ready for the main roster. So that's fine. I'm not a fan of Fatal 4-Ways, but if they go that route at Stand and Deliver, I wouldn't be shocked. I really fucking wouldn't. All right, moving on. William Regal and Fit Finlay, they're backstage. They're holding court with the Birthright. So Lexis King welcomed Charlie Dempsey to the group. William Regal says that if the Birthright want to compete on Stand and Deliver for the first time, they need to win the tag team tournament. So Robert Stone joins the conversation. William Regal's been watching Robert Stone over the last couple of weeks, and he's been very impressed with his performance as interim NXT general manager. William Regal says that he's going to have a conversation with Shawn Michaels, and maybe it's time for Mr. Stone to become the permanent GM of NXT. That's fine, but that's probably going to be a ruse. It'll probably end up being William Regal being GM, maybe. I don't know. All right, moving on. This leads us into the Vanity Project versus Los Americanos. This match was way too fucking long. I really wasn't invested in this. The NXT crowd was. The Houston crowd, they were invested in this. I was not. So Los Americanos, they got the win. It didn't really matter. Whatever. Who cares? Moving on. Shawn Legacy and Eli Knight, they are interrupted. I mean, they interrupted a conversation that Robert Stone was having with Ilya LaFleur in his office. So Shawn Legacy comes in on crutches. He's walking. He's got to remove himself from the Tag Team Championship tournament. And so Ilya LaFleur offers to be Eli Knight's tag team partner. So Robert Stone makes it official. And then Ilya LaFleur and Eli Knight will battle the Culling next week. Oh, my God. No. So Sol Ruka, she shows up. She said that she was once again screwed out of the NXT Women's Championship because of Zarya. Robert Stone minds Sol Ruka that anything can happen in a triple threat match. So Sol Ruka tells Robert Stone she needs to talk to Zarya face to face because there's a lot she needs to get off her chest. Okay, that's fine. I do like that. All right. Moving on. This leads us into Booker T's Appreciation Night. So Vic Joseph came out and he got into the ring with his nice suit on and he put over Booker T. Booker T thanked everyone. We got a great tribute video package for Booker T. This was great. So it was shout outs from Shawn Michaels, Vic Joseph, Jasper Troy, Joe Hendry, Stone Cold Steve Austin, J.C. Jane, Trick Williams, The Miz, The Usos, Roxanne Perez, and Stephanie Baker. Great stuff there. Loved it. So Booker T was getting teary-eyed, and he cried a little bit, wiped away a couple of tears. Vic talked about how his family was there, and a couple of his students from Reality Wrestling were there. So Keanu Craver showed up to crash the party. He told the fans to shut up and everything else. So Carver beat the shit out of several of Booker T's students and a couple of other production guys. So Carver is about to put his hands on Booker T when Jasper Troy shows up to make the save, and then there's a massive brawl that breaks out between Jasper Troy and Keanu Craver, and Keanu Craver is being held back by security and producers, so there's that, and then Jasper Troy hugs Booker T, and then the rest of the NXT locker room come out to celebrate Booker T. Okay, that's cool. I like this. This is great. This is good. Clearly they're gonna do something with Jasper Troy and Keanu Craver. I'm not a fan of Jasper Troy. I'm just not. He's just big for no reason, and he's very, very green. Keanu Craver, I like him. He's more street. He's more hood, and he's more authentic. And, you know, I get it. Like, he's a really good guy. So I'm guessing they're going to do a match between Jasper Troy and him at Stand and Deliver. There's no point at this point, at this late in the game, to go ahead and do that on television, even though they should. So, you know, it is what it is. So Booker T, he went off after all this. He's like, kill that damn music. He wants to know what the hell is going on around here, and there needs to be some control in NXT. And this stuff shouldn't be happening in his damn city. So that's fine there. That was hilarious. I love that. That was great. So this was pretty fun. Pretty cool stuff there. Moving on. Ren Sinclair defeats Fallon Henley to become the new NXT Women's Speed Champion. So that's fine. She ends up tapping out Fallon Henley. This was good. I'm digging these speed matches. They're great. You know, a 5-minute match for a championship match is great. And then just a regular match is 3 minutes. So, yeah, good stuff here. Fallon Henley was going to go for the O'Connor role. And Ren locked in the final wrench, and then that was it. So, good stuff there. I like that. Moving on, this leads us into Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. They're bickering back and forth with each other in Robert Stone's office. So they're pissed off about what Tony D'Angelo did earlier on in the night by attacking both guys. Ricky Saints agrees with everything that Ethan Page has to say. Mr. Stone needs to do his job and fix the situation. Ethan Page says that Ricky Saints should have a match with Tony D'Angelo next week. And Robert Stone likes the sound of that, and that would be a great main event for next week. So Ricky Saints is not happy about it. Ethan Page tells Ricky Saints that he's going to take care of this vigilante once and for all. Ricky Saints tells Robert Stone that he's excited because Ethan Page will be in his corner next week. Okay, that's fine. Moving on, this leads us into the Birthright. Stax and Uriah Connors, a.k.a. Brogan Finley, they defeat Hank and Tank. Don't really care about this. They advance in the tournament. Who gives a shit? He wins via roll-up, I guess. Whatever. Who cares? Moving on. Joe Hendry, he's backstage with Robert Stone. He tells him that he wants to fight Tony D'Angelo next week. Robert Stone's that he can't make that official because Ricky Saints and Ethan Page got him first. And then Robert Stone tells Joe Hendry to calm down. Joe Hendry says that one way or another, he's going to get his hands on Tony D'Angelo. Again, I got a feeling that this is going to lead to a fatal 4-way. So, you know, there's that. Moving on. Dark State, they beat the shit out of OTM in the parking lot. Okay, who cares? This leads us into Thea Hale. She's backstage hyping up Tatum Paxley for her steel cage match against Izzy Dame. Tatum says the NXT needs more people like Thea Hale. So, Kelani Jordan walks up after Tatum Paxley leaves. Kelani tells Thea to drop the nice girl act. Kalani's been in Thea Hale's shoes before. Kelani says that it's time for Thea Hale to become selfish if she wants to accomplish anything in NXT. So, Jaida Parker tells Kelani to shut up and leave Thea Hale alone. The only thing that Kelani has accomplished with the attitude change is getting her ass kicked by Lola Vice, which was nice. Kelani says that Miss Parker is getting soft, and Thea Hale mentions that Kelani got knocked out at Vengeance Day. So next week, however, the hell is going to make Kelani Jordan tap out. Okay, I like this. Clearly, they're probably going to do Jaida Parker and Kelani Jordan at Stand and Deliver. So there's that. I mean, that's fine. Again, Jaida has gotten kind of soft. Basically, she's kind of in her soft girl era, her soft girl era, quote unquote. I'm teasing, by the way. But no, Jaida Parker has kind of fell off momentum wise for whatever reason. Like, I don't know what Shawn Michaels is doing with her. So, you know, there's that. But this is fine. But I'm guessing they're going to do something with Jaida and Kelani at Stand and Deliver. Right? Because they both got to be on Stand and Deliver. Basically, they've got to. All right, moving on. This leads us into Fatal Influence. So she's still on Cloud 9 about retaining her championship, that being Jessie Jane. Fallon Henley wishes she could say the same thing about her match. Laney Reed says that she's going to help Fallon get her championship back. Ren Sinclair is just a temporary champion, which is true. Fallon Henley says that Laney Reed doesn't know what she's talking about because she had to go through an entire tournament just to get a rematch. Jessie Jane says that Fallon Henley has every right to be upset. Fallon agrees, and that while she waits for another tournament, they're going to take care of Ren QCC because we all know Jessie Jane won't have another match before Stand and Deliver. So Jessie Jane says that she wouldn't mind having them take out both Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray. Okay, that's fine there. Moving on, Robert Stone informs Miles Bourne that there's going to be a gauntlet match next week. The winner of that match will face him at Stand and Deliver. So the Birthright, they show up again, and they want basically more gold. So they want the NXT Tag Team Championships as well as the North American Championship. Okay, that's fine there. All right, whatever. Moving on, this leads us into the main event of the evening. Tatum Paxley defeats Izzy Dame to retain her NXT Women's Championship inside of a steel cage. This match was fun. The crowd was super into it. Izzy Dame beat up Tatum Paxley before the match even got underway. She threw her into the steel cage a little bit, beat her up, suplexed her on the outside. There was a nasty suplex spot from the second rope by Izzy Dame. That was great. That got a good reaction. Tatum Paxley sold that well. They fought on the steel cage and everything at the top of the steel cage. Tatum Paxley, my bad. Izzy Dame ended up bringing a steel chair into the ring and used it. She whacked Tatum Paxley a couple times with the steel chair. So there's that. And then basically, Tatum Paxley ends up doing the cemetery drive on the steel chair for the 1-2-3. She got to celebrate briefly up the ramp, and then Mariah May showed up from under the ramp, and she dragged Tatum Paxley to hell, and she posed with the NXT Women's North American Championship, and that was it. So this is fine. I do like this. Really good stuff here. So clearly Mariah May has direction. I don't see I don't see Tatum Paxley being champion too long. I do think that she'll end up being on the main roster as well. So there is that. And at least Mariah May's going to be doing something at Stand and Deliver. That's good there. So this is fine. Hopefully Stand and Deliver has a good 6 or 7 matches. It should have at least 7 matches on the card, if we're being honest. And I am kind of excited for the show. And I think Stand and Deliver is going to do well. And this was a pretty good show, you know. I dug it. I really did. I like what they did with Keanu Craver and Jasper Troy ruining Booker T's Appreciation Night. That was great. That was good there. I like what they're doing with the NXT Women's Division as a whole, with both championships. The tag team stuff is fine. I really don't care about that. And I like what they're doing with the NXT Championship picture as well. But they're probably going to end up doing a triple threat match with that. But what did you guys think of NXT? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.